A suspect is dead after a standoff with police in Fayetteville. We'll have the latest on the investigation into the shooting tonight at 10. Plus, the White House border czar says he expects the president to ramp up immigration enforcement efforts this week in nearly every sanctuary city. And Sam Pittman and the Razorbacks now set their sights on an SEC opponent after last night's big win in their first ever in-state matchup with Arkansas State. Well, thanks for joining us tonight for your 5 News at 10. I'm Lauren Spencer. After a nice weekend, we start with Joshua Weisel in the 5 News Weather Center, looking ahead to the work week's forecast. And it looks like we might be warming up, Joshua.
Oh, yeah. This weekend was pretty much perfect. It feels fantastic out there right now, actually. Stepped out on our little patio behind the studio and enjoyed the weather here for a little bit. Right now, 61 in Fayetteville. Nice and cool and calm. Hopefully, you've been able to enjoy the remainder of your weekend and get out there and enjoy this nice weather. It's going to be nice tomorrow. We do have some low rain chances to get to in just a second and a warm up. But in the meantime, so you can see 68 in Fort Smith as well from a Mercy camera. And not too bad of an evening. Here's a couple of those temperatures elsewhere around the region, anywhere from the lower 60s into the upper 60s. And some of us may even be into the lower 50s overnight tonight. So the activity is thanks to this high pressure. It kept us, pretty calm throughout the weekend as this continues to push off a little bit to the north and east, though. There's a little subtle short wave further to the west. It may bring some very low rain chances by the time we get to tomorrow. In the meantime, here's a look at that overnight forecast, and you can see by the time we get to tomorrow morning, lower to mid-50s northwest Arkansas starting off the morning. And then as we make our way into the River Valley, kind of the same thing, just a little bit warmer, upper 50s into the lower 60s. We'll have more on that forecast coming up.
All right, thanks, Joshua. Happening now, an investigation is underway after one person is dead following a standoff with Fayetteville police. Officers responded to the shots fired call this morning near Crossover Road. 5 News reporter Laura Castleman reports from the apartment complex that's now a crime scene. And a quick warning before we air this story, the following segment contains gunshot sounds that some viewers may find distressing.
At approximately 11:54, we responded to the Cliffs apartment, specifically 341 North Garnett Court, apartment number 8, for a shooting call.
Corporal Natalie Usey with the Fayetteville Police Department gave an update Sunday afternoon after a shots fired call turned deadly. Officers were dispatched after a caller at the Cliffs reported a possible gunshot.
Upon locating the apartment that it may have been from, officers received fire. At that point, they all took cover. We attempted to make communication with the suspect verbally, and the suspect did not communicate back with us and continued to fire back.
Corporal Usey says one of their main priorities, getting residents out safely.
You have shots being fired from one apartment. That apartment shares walls, shares a ceiling or a floor. It's a very scary situation when gunfire is used in such a populated area like this.
A lot of gunfire being laid down.
Kaiser Mooney lives in the same complex the incident happened in.
I was just in my apartment, minding my business.
That's when Mooney says he heard gunshots.
5 minutes later, I hear at my door, Fayetteville Police Department, open up. And I open the door and they got guns drawn and stuff. They told me to come outside and get behind them. And as soon as I did, and started shooting through the door, I'm pretty sure, boom, 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 boom.
So we weren't sure exactly what it was when we first heard it, but when it started happening over and over again and more volleys of shots.
Maddox Bernard also lives nearby.
That we heard a couple shots, and then we heard it sounded like a smaller caliber gun, and then we heard a different gun. It's one thing to hear about it on the news and another for it to happen in your front yard almost.
Corporal Usey also spoke of the coordination with other agencies, both today and during the recent shooting threat hoax at the University of Arkansas.
We saw it again today, and we live somewhere where all law enforcement, fire departments, EMS, everyone trains together, we get along, we work together, and we want everyone to go home safe.
In Fayetteville, covering news where you live, Laura Castleman, 5 News.
Well, developing this weekend, a Fayetteville man often seen performing on Dixon Street with his bagpipes has been charged with rape. Devin Topf was arrested on Friday and is in the Washington County Jail tonight on a $25,000 bond. His first court appearance is scheduled for tomorrow morning. And people in Prairie Grove came together this weekend to support the children left behind by Clinton and Kristen Brink, the victims in the deadly attack at Devil's Den State Park earlier this summer. The Brinks had just moved to Prairie Grove before the tragedy happened. The town's mayor said they wanted to do something to raise money for their 3 daughters to help them move forward.
Culmination of the community coming together and then the evidence of that. So when you walk out here, you just see it. You see it in the items, you see it in the food, you see it in the people coming together.
All proceeds from the event went straight to the Brink family. The city says they raised over $56,000. The suspect in the deadly attack on the Brinks is Andrew McGann. He's in the Washington County Jail where he awaits trial on 2 charges of capital murder. Prosecutors are seeking the death penalty in this case if he's convicted. The next court date in this case is November 14th. Well, the president traveled to New York today to attend the U.S. Open tennis tournament. His visit comes as he faces growing scrutiny over a post this weekend promising to deploy federal troops to U.S. cities and crack down on crime and supporting immigration enforcement. The White House border czar defended the president's comments today, saying they were about making American cities safer.
Look, I think it's worth being taken out of context. If I said we're going to war, we're going to war with the criminal cartels. We're going to war with illegal aliens, public safety threats that rape children, that raped citizens, that committed armed robberies, that distribute narcotics that kill Americans.
Homan says he expects the White House to begin operations in most sanctuary cities sometime this week. We're also learning more tonight about the workers who were arrested at a car plant in Georgia last week during an immigration raid. Nearly 500 people were detained, about 300 from South Korea. As Jen Sullivan explains, those workers are now expected to be returned to South Korea.
Are we in the U.S.? Like, I've never seen them come out like that, guns drawn, on the roof, helicopters.
Images of immigration and enforcement agents swarming a Hyundai plant in Georgia have sparked outrage among many.
We are calling on people across Georgia to stand with us, stand with the Hyundai workers.
Protesters gathering Saturday in Ellabelle, where the Hyundai plant is located, some traveling several miles just to show their support for those detained.
They're a part of our community. These are workers. They're the ones who build our cars that we drive every single day. They're not criminals.
475 workers were detained Thursday. The operation was one of the most extensive immigration raids in recent U.S. history. It's part of the Trump administration's plan to crack down on illegal immigration, targeting workspaces.
We need all work to end on the site right now.
The site houses an electric vehicle battery plant jointly operated by South Korea-based companies Hyundai and LG Energy Solution. Roughly 300 of the workers that were detained are from South Korea. Those workers will now return on a chartered flight following negotiations between the U.S. and South Korean leaders, according to an official.
This has been a multi-month criminal investigation.
The South Korean presidential chief of staff saying, quote, to prevent a reoccurrence of similar cases, we will work together with the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Energy and the companies concerned to review and improve the visa system and stay status of people traveling to the U.S. for investment projects. I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
And this weekend at the Vatican, Pope Leo canonized the Catholic Church's first millennial as a saint. The new saint is Carlo Acutis, an Italian young man who died of leukemia at the age of 15. He was born in 1991 and created a website to document miracles and spread his faith. It earned him the nickname God's Influencer, and his story has attracted wide attention from Catholic youth worldwide. One other saint was also canonized today by Pope Leo, Pier Giorgio Francetti, who died in 1925 at the age of 24. He was also Italian and known for helping others.